Good morning. The commission will come to order. Before we get started with today's agenda, I have a few items to announce, as do my colleagues. I'd like to announce the promotion of one of our young staff members here, Ben Baker. Where's Ben? Ben's on the side there. Ben's been with the commission now for about 2 years in the electricity division, and he's now been promoted to Assistant Director of Energy Analysis and Planning Division, our EAP division. He's obviously shown his chops over the past couple of years working on our grid modernization efforts. He's testified at a number of rate cases, and he will bring good management experience as he assumes the position of Assistant Director. I'd also like to note that he came to us with experience from SoCal Edison in California. So he's a young millennial, but he's a rising star here at the Maryland PSC. Ben, congratulations. And I believe Commissioner O'Donnell has an announcement.
I do. It's rare that we get an opportunity to recognize someone who has worked for the state for as long as this person has. And next Wednesday will be the final day of state service for an executive associate here at the commission. Executive associates are the right hands of the commissioners. Jennifer Stankiewicz will be completing over 46 years of state service next Wednesday, which is extraordinary. I mean, that's longer than Commissioner Herman has been alive. So,
I'll take it.
trying to get a vote. But Jennifer has been extraordinary. She's worked in various agencies and divisions of the Public Service Commission. She was at the Department of Social Services. She also was in Personnel, the Office of General Counsel, and has been an executive associate to former Commissioner Hoskins and then to myself for over 3 years now, 3.25 years. So Jennifer is planning on spending a lot of time with her family, including her 2 adult children and son-in-law and her two grandchildren who she looks forward to spending a lot of time with, and we envy you, Jennifer. So I personally want to thank you. I know everybody holds you in very high regard, and if you could just stand up and be recognized, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure working with the commission. I will miss everyone immensely. I really appreciate the support you've given me throughout my years here. I won't forget you. I will stay in touch, but I'm very much looking forward to this new adventure.
Congratulations, Jennifer. You will be missed. With that, we will begin our administrative meeting with the approval of the minutes from the October 16th, 2019 administrative meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Mr. Secretary, the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, we have 8 items on the consent agenda this morning. Item 1 is DSCI LLC, U.S. Telepacific Holdings Corp., and Tango Private Holdings 2 LLC. They filed a joint application for approval of a transfer of indirect control of DSCI LLC to Tango Private Holdings. Items 2, 3, and 4 are filings from Rosenthal Energy Advisor and Frontline Power Solutions. They're all requests to cancel their supplier licenses. Item 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all applications for a license to supply either natural gas or electricity or electric generation services in Maryland from Alpha Gas and Electric LLC, Save Energy Today LLC, Park Power LLC, and JMI Consultants LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Do commissioners have questions? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Mr. Chairman, I have a very brief questions on items 2, 3, 4, and 6 on the consent agenda. So if someone could answer my questions on those items. These are really for the record, just to make sure. I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure I do. Item 2 is Rosenthal Energy Advisors, and they're requesting simply to cancel their electricity supplier license. It wasn't clear in the packet material that the $10 assessment and the $100 late fee have been collected. Have they been collected?
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Paige Shaw on behalf of staff. Yeah, so the For Rosenthal, they paid their assessments and the late fee. For Frontline, because the filing, the fiscal sends a sheet to the companies about whether or not they want to cancel their license, and they can sign that with the assessments they owe. Fiscal will actually waive those assessments for this year, only the assessment and the late fee for this fiscal year. So the Frontline fell under that category.
So they're fully up to date. And were they separate $100 civil penalties, one for each license?
Mhm.
And they're both paid?
Mhm.
Okay, very good. And then item number 6. So this is Save Energy Today LLC applying for a license to be a broker for electricity in Maryland. And the Bucksheet asserts sufficient experience in the energy industry for the management of this company. It's a single person's shop. And I went and looked at the energy company this person works for. It's a lighting company. They don't. It wasn't clear to me when I looked at their experience there. All their website says that Energix or Energetics or whatever their company is, was that person was a partner. Do you know what they did there?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Michael Jang on behalf of staff. So what they did were a lot of power or lighting projects.
And I know that's what the company did, but I'm specifically talking about the applicant.
Yes, so he oversaw a lot of those projects.
He
himself.
managed,
Yes.
physically managed them? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not clear to this commissioner what sufficient energy experience is, or energy industry experience is. I guess there's a degree of subjectivity to that determination. Is that right? Okay, very good. Thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? If not, is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For item number 1, I move that we note the transfer of indirect control of DSCI LLC to Tango Private Holdings II LLC. For items number 2, 3, and 4, I move we approve the cancellation request. For items number 5 and 7, I move that we grant the company a license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland for the customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff. Direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to its Maryland operations to the Commission staff and Office of People's Counsel 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland. And direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application. For item number 6, I move that we grant the company a license to operate as an electricity supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services for all customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff, and direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to its Maryland operations to the Commission staff and Office of People's Counsel 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland, and direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application. And for item number 8, I move that we grant the company a license to operate as an electricity supplier in Maryland, limited to broker and aggregator services for all customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff, and direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
The motions are approved.
Mr. Chairman, first item on the administrative agenda, item 9, Baltimore Gas and Electric Company filed a calculation of the gas administrative charge under Rider 12 of its gas service tariff.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Yulia Pavoreski on behalf of staff. Rider 12 of BGE's tariff provides a detailed description and calculation requirements for the gas administrative charge, GAC. The GAC charge recovers the following gas commodity costs from BGE customers: credit and collection expense, commodity billing charge, uncollectible expense, storage inventory carrying costs, commodity cash working capital, and PSCS.
Ms. Poboreski, can you pull that mic down a little bit closer to you?
Okay.
Thank
Is
you.
this better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Staff has reviewed BGE's calculation for the GAC and believes it is accurate and consistent with the requirements under the settlement in case number 8950. The settlement requires BGE to file annual GAC updates and also to update after any changes in gas distribution base rates. Page 3 of staff's comments includes a chart that presents a comparison of the previously approved and the current rates for each category. Due to the fact that some GAC categories rates slightly increased and others slightly decreased, there is no effect on an average residential customer using 55 terms per month. The bill impact will remain at approximately 88 cents per month. Customers do not see the GAC as a separate line item on their customer bills, as it's a part of commodity charge. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the new gas administrative charge for filing effective November 1st, 2019. I'm here to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you. Counsel for the utility.
Good morning, Commissioners. Beverly Sokora on behalf of BGE. I have no additional comments, but I'm here if you have questions for me.
Thank you. Just to be clear, this came out of a rate case. This is the GAC, the GAC is not applicable to all of our gas utilities. Is it just for Baltimore Gas Electric?
I believe it's a legal question, so I would.
Okay, thank you. I recall that we saw a similar filing last October, so this is an annual filing.
This is an annual filing, and the company will have to update it based on the new case that is currently is not complete yet, but will be complete soon.
Thank you. Ms. Sakura, do you know the answer to my question? Do your fellow gas utilities file a similar charge?
I don't believe that they do.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Thank you. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the new gas administrative charge for filing with an effective date of November 1st, 2019.
All in favor? The motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, last item on the agenda, item 10, Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative, Inc. filed revised tariff pages. The company proposes to cancel rider OMCE and its optional meter connection equipment rider.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. David Hoppick on behalf of Commission staff. Per the instructions of the Commission, staff and SMECO, the Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative, discussed and agreed upon options for canceling rider OMCE. The first option, option 1, is canceling the tariff now and removing the generator connection units in the near term. Option 2 is to leave the generator connection units in place until they fail under ownership of SMECO. Option 2 would require revising the rider OMCE tariff and then canceling the tariff once all the generator connection units are retired. Staff and SMECO recommend option 1. Finally, staff notes that the Commission has not received a report or evaluation of the pilot, as is typical when pilot programs are terminated. Thank you.
Thank you. Counsel for the utility.
Mark McDougall on behalf of SMECO. I have nothing to add to Mr. Hoppick's presentation. I'm here to answer questions if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. McDougall. We last heard this, I believe, back in July. I recall at the time the cost to the utility to remove these pieces of equipment is it still going to be about $100,000?
I know that's what it cost to test the piece of equipment. I'm turning to my technical advisor here, Mr. David Johnson. He was here when the Commission last heard this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, a field trip is $190 and some change.
To send a truck to a residence is $190? A
To-
truck roll?
Yes, to send a truck there and remove the unit and whatever else needs to come along with it.
Okay, so about $200, and we have 237 outstanding, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions?
Just a comment. I just want to thank the cooperative and staff for working together on this. This may not be the perfect solution to this issue, and it will cost a little money. However, I had great concern about the safety of these systems because of the reference to high resistance contact at where the meter plugs in and generating heat, and that being a potential hazard. And I also had concern about giving ownership of something to somebody else, but not telling them what they can do with their newly owned property. So for those two reasons, I appreciate both staff and SMECO for working this out, which may not be the perfect solution.
Thank you, Commissioner Linton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for staff. You noted in your presentation that there was not a final report or analysis done for the pilot program. I'm curious just to find out if you are comfortable with that. Do you think that there's any value to obtaining any report? Is there any additional data that you think would be valuable for future analysis, or are we okay to just end it as you recommended in your buck sheet?
So the primary purpose of including that portion of staff's comments was to note in the record that they were required to do these types of analysis, but none were produced. I think that given the low level of participation and the fact that they have responded to a couple data requests with answers indicating that they don't have some of the data that might be helpful to do, for example, a cost-benefit analysis. I think it would be okay to cancel as proposed, but I think this just provides an example of when we do conduct pilots, that it is very important to learn something from them, and that is generally done through an evaluation.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the commission cancel rider OMCE with an effective date of October 23rd, 2019, and direct SMECO to remove all remaining portable generator connection units.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is approved, and this meeting is adjourned.